Yes, that's right, guys. Maybe a bit of a corny intro, but I heard that song in the trailer of The Witcher before I started watching this Netflix series, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how cool, at the beginning of the freaking well trailer. Anyways, so I am going to be talking about the White Wolf this evening, aka the awesome Geralt of Rivia, Superman, Henry Cavill, however way you want to call it. So I have been absolutely loving this Netflix series of The Witcher so far. If you don't know by now and you're maybe new to my channel, my name is Julie. You are so welcome to be here. I am actually a really big fan of the Witcher universe. I absolutely love The Witcher. I love the novels, and also I have played all 3 games, and my favourite one is Wild Hunt, if anybody is in any way interested. So I have been really loving this. Now this is going to be my spoiler review, so if you don't want me to be spoiling you and you want to watch it and you haven't seen episode 3, you don't maybe want to watch this yet, you might want to come back. But this has been my favourite episode so far, this 3rd episode. And I'm going to get to why. Now I have so far seen the first 4 episodes, so I'm going to do episode 3 now this evening, and then tomorrow I will hopefully come on and do my episode 4 spoiler review as well. So being a fan of the games and also of the novels, it was really cool seeing the Strega in this. It's basically a monster sort of creature, or however you want to call it, and it was really cool seeing this because in the very first game, The Witcher, pretty much that's what you've seen in this with Geralt and the Strega and the whole curse and everything being lifted by Geralt. That is actually in the first game, The Witcher. And I will try and put in a little clip up above here just to kind of give you an example so that you can get to see. But also this is actually in the very first novel by the fantasy writer who was literally the creator of this world, literally the creator of the Witcher universe. He wrote all these novels, Andrzej Sapkowski. And honestly, I was waiting for this to be in this episode, honestly, and it was actually in the very first novel called The Last Wish. So this was something that I very much knew, or at least hoped, was going to definitely come up within the first season. Now I will be honest, because it's pretty much at the very start of the first novel, The Last Wish, I kind of just sort of speculated myself that it was going to be in the first or second episode, and it wasn't. And to be honest, I was sort of kind of thinking, I really hope that this is going to be in this series, because if the Strega is not in this series in the first season, it might be a bit weird. I don't know, because it's just such a really cool part of the novel and everything. So that's, I don't know, that's just my opinion anyway, and other characters that are in surrounding within that story, you know. In case anybody doesn't know, the novels by Andrzej, basically the way they work is all the novels are based on short stories within them, each novel, if that makes sense. And Geralt of Rivia, I just wanted to sort of say the reason why, in case anybody doesn't know, that hasn't maybe read the books or anything like that, or played the games. If you've played the games, you'll know this, but he's known by many as the White Wolf. That's why I was singing the White Wolf at the beginning of my video like a freaking idiot. But he basically trained in the School of the Wolf, right? And the School of the Wolf was in a place called Kaer Morhen, and that's where basically witchers, it's like a school for witchers, right? So that's why he is known by so many as the White Wolf. In this episode, he travels to Temeria. Now, Temeria is one of the northern kingdoms, and on his way, he actually meets the character called Triss Merigold in a forest.
Triss Merigold. I serve King Foltest.
Now, this character is really, very much so very important, not only heavily in the novels, but also heavily in the game as well. And she serves King Foltest, and she then took Geralt to see King Foltest, King of Temeria. Now, the actress that plays her is called Anna Schaffer, and I wanted to kind of talk about her because I suppose I would kind of say I am actually a fan of hers. She, me being a massive fan of Harry Potter, I was literally at the Harry Potter Museum in London last year, and oh my gosh, I can't wait to go back. It was absolutely magical. If you ever visit, go probably either November or December time, because they have like fake snow and stuff fall, and it's absolutely stunning. But she is actually in Harry Potter now, albeit she's not in it for that long, but I do know that she is in it. And also she's in a TV series. She was in a TV series called Hollyoaks, and I'm actually kind of glad that she's not in it anymore. Well, as far as I know, I definitely wouldn't be watching it, but it kind of went a bit you know what I mean? Bit weird. And if you know my channel, and if you've been around my channel and watched my videos, and you know that I don't like certain things, you will know that that's how it went. Do you know where I'm coming from? But now that she's in this series playing Triss, you better believe that I know for a fact that show, the producers of that show will be like, she's in a show with freaking Wells Superman. Yeah, we kind of want to get her back. Have no issue with her character thus far, or how she looks or anything like that. I have heard people like sort of complain like about her hair and stuff like that. I don't really have an issue. I'm not one of these type of people like, oh, this person has to look identical, you know, unless it's like crazy, or like they're going to contradict characters or ruin their story arc or go crazy. It's not something that bothers me if someone's going to change, you know, like the hair color or something like that there. But in the novels, it's pretty much described as kind of like a chestnut, sort of like browny, sort of chestnut browny red kind of, you know, because I suppose you think about like chestnuts kind of like a browny red. So I just thought I would say that now. This episode focused heavily, and it's what I'm going to be speaking heavily on, to be honest, because it's just what I loved so much about the episode, and it was heavily based on it, was pretty much, you know, Geralt of Rivia and the Strega, which was basically, I'm going to just explain because I know people are getting kind of confused, and I can understand, because I kind of think, had I have went into this, you know, knowing nothing about the lore, the mythology, or knowing anything about the games even, I think, I will be honest, I probably would be not completely lost, but pretty lost. The first and the second episode I don't think was as hard to follow for people, but I think maybe the third and fourth, especially the fourth one, which I will get to tomorrow, might be a bit difficult for anybody who hasn't known anything about it. And I can see where, because some of my subscribers have came toward me with this issue, and I do understand that, which is kind of a little sad to hear, because to be honest, that might make the show not do as well, but as far as I know, it's doing really well, so I'm not really going to get overly concerned at that. But I will kind of go over and explain how it is in the novel The Last Wish. The Strega is called Ada, and in the novel The Last Wish, it pretty much explains that King Foltest had a daughter, pretty much he did the jingo jango, you know, he did the business with his own sister, you know, Ada. So it's kind of like the whole, if you think of Game of Thrones, right, you have Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister, and them two did the, you know, the business. So it's kind of like that, right? Brother and sister, you know, did the stuff, and then they had a daughter who was called Princess Ada. So they're both called Ada, right? But then in this episode, you know, the character Austriat, he was pretty much in love with Ada. So he then pretty much got a curse to be put on to her. So then it meant that when Ada had her baby, Princess Ada, it was actually cursed. So Ada actually died giving birth to Princess Ada, and the daughter died as well. So she was then buried on below the castle grounds in Temeria. And then years later, Ada came back to life, but she was cursed, and Geralt did explain this. He was explaining this to Triss, and he was saying to her, like, you know, she's back, but, you know, cursed, sort of thing. So I think it was pretty much well explained in that sense. Like, Geralt did explain pretty much the story, I guess. So I thought that was good that Geralt did explain that. What King Foltest wanted Geralt to basically lift the curse. And as I say, this all did pretty much happen at the start of the book, The Last Wish. And he actually stood outside and he said to him, you know, like, Geralt, like, will this work? Do you think this curse is going to work and it's going to be lifted pretty much for my daughter, sort of thing? And before he even said it, you know, because I've read the book, I said, I don't know. Or I actually said, like, I don't know, mate, like, just, like, joking around with myself because it was, like, he was going to say something, like, what I thought he was going to say, you know? And he pretty much did. He said something like, I don't know, or something along them lines. And that is pretty much, you may as well say, what his response was to Foltest in the novel. So basically, just to explain, right, a Strega is a really evil creature that pretty much does not have any second thought or care or guilt to devour literally anything in its sight. Like in the novel, it even explains that sometimes she'd just like take off a head. You'd maybe see her sometimes, you know, picking on the bone and things like that, on the bones. So yeah, they don't have the thought in their mind, and they just go around devouring the crap out of whatever, right? And in the novel, she literally was going around just thrashing at Geralt really crazily. And at one point, she actually got her claws and she ripped open Geralt's neck. And like he lost a ton of blood, like a lot of blood. This is in the novel. And then when he sort of like, you know, comes around, it's kind of funny, like typical Geralt. The first thing he pretty much was asking about was, you know, like, where's my sword sort of thing? Like, where is it? You know, worrying about his sword sort of thing. So, yeah. I really love how Geralt is being played by Henry Cavill. He is really, like, down to a T, he is fantastic. Now, I know that the writer of these books, he was asked in an interview, you know, if you could ask anybody to play the part of Geralt, you know, because obviously he created this character, he created this whole entire universe. He said it would be Mads Mikkelsen, and I hope I've pronounced that right, and I did mention this in my last review, but basically, I will be honest, I think he would have been a really good pick. It would have been cool to see him play as well, but I am actually really happy that Henry Cavill got this role. Was always a fan of his before anyway. I think one of his best films is Man from U.N.C.L.E. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. But he does this really fantastically, this role, and he looks like him, he speaks like the voice actor from Wild Hunt, and he actually knows all about the lore and mythology, and he loves fantasy as well, and he's actually played the game a lot, so he knows his shit, like literally he knows the shit. So I love the way all the scenes of the Strega was actually filmed and shot, like visually, holy good goodness, damn, this was really cool. And yeah, it was kind of, I suppose, somewhat similar, yeah, pretty much to the first game, The Witcher, and also pretty similar as well. I'm really happy with it, like to the book as well. It's really, really cool. Now, just to let you know, in the actual first game, visually, the Strega would be like more, it was more wider and sort of broader in size. But as well, in the novel, her hair is sort of described as like a red sort of colour, and also in the game her hair was sort of like a reddy, kind of gingery sort of a colour. And basically, Geralt is able to actually lift the spell, but I'm going to sort of talk through all that. But see the scenes where it was like really dark and mysterious and really actually very eerie. I got that atmosphere, and I think that's a perfect atmosphere that they went for at the end of the day. He hunts monsters. He's in deep trouble in this, like when, you know, she's coming at him and everything full blow. Really cool. The directors and the producers was sort of went for a very sort of horror sort of look with the Strega, and as well, you know, with like those scenes with really in the darkness with like windows and stuff, and you could just see a slight sort of a bit of light coming in, but ever so slight, and it was really, really dark setting, and you really got that sort of dramatic feel with the dramatic sounds and things like that, and how they showed especially the crypt of the Strega being opened. Oh my gosh, I thought that was so cool, and you're like, uh-oh, here she comes, and I thought it was really cool. And I was just waiting for the silver chain. I'm like, yes, Henry, you know it, go Superman. Like, it's a silver chain, like here he is with the silver chain, and he throws it at her and it wraps round her. And basically, just to explain, silver to her and pretty much monsters is like I suppose you could explain, since Henry Cavill's Superman, I may as well say, it's like kryptonite to Superman basically. They ain't gonna like it, and of course she didn't like it. She was not too happy about it, and she was literally enraged. And it was hilarious, this line. I thought it was legendary by Henry Cavill. And then she just like comes toward him after that, and he went, oh, and then he went F-U-C-K. And I honestly loved that line. Like, I wanted to rewind it and like rewatch that part again. It's probably going to be one of my favourite lines. Like, I don't know, I have so many favourite lines from him so far, but like, I just loved that moment. Oh, F. Like, I don't know, I just thought it was hilarious. And then there was a moment where the Strega was on top of Geralt, and she was just like slabbering all over his face, and the way that was done, freaking brilliant. And I actually thought that they had it looking, she looked so cool. It was mad, it was crazy, and it was like freaky, but that is the whole point. And I absolutely was so happy with how they filmed the whole scenes of Geralt and her together, as I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. And I think visually this is probably one of the best episodes, and it's just my favourite so far out of the first 4 that I have seen. And oh my gosh, Geralt's eyes, he just looks amazing as Geralt in general, but his eyes when they're jet black, you know, really dark jet black, was absolutely class. Because the thing is, right, the potions, right, that Geralt takes, you could not take it as, like, no human, like me or you or whoever else would not be able to take these potions. It would be extremely poisonous and you would just die. It's as simple as that. But he's able to consume them. For example, pretty much they're able to give him better strength and things like that. So I suppose, like, when he's in combat, the best way to describe it is it's going to help him out, basically, if that makes sense, without going into like crazy detail. But for those of you that are familiar with either the books or even the games as well, like, I loved seeing Geralt using his signs. And now basically his signs are basically like spells, right? And he has different signs. Now he used a couple with the Strega in this one, and he used both the Ard sign, and he also used the Yarden sign as well. Now, when he was fighting the Strega, he used his Ard sign. When you seen him sort of like she was lying on top of him, he went like that. And then they both, that same dam, when they both went down onto to the next floor below them, both of them, when they fell, that was terrific. And then Geralt then went and got into her crypt, which in the novel, in case anybody's interested, it's pretty much more referred to as the sarcophagus, which is pretty much like, you know, like a coffin, a crypt, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's how it's sort of referred to in the novel. So he gets into the crypt in this episode, and just like in the novel, he did the Yarden sign, and it's described in the books that this is used by witchers on sort of like solid surfaces. So of course it was a solid surface when he done it on the crypt. So and basically what that sign does, Yarden, is it pretty much blocks monsters, so you know, from coming closer. So when he used this, then he was able to lift the curse. And this is how it's pretty much done in the novel. So I think it's really cool how they done out this whole episode. I think they did a fantastic job of this episode. The visuals were fantastic. And another thing I want to say is, acting wise, I have yet to see like a bad actor or someone where you're sort of going, I'm not kind of sure about that third person. Everybody has been fantastic at all their performances. I'm really, really happy. So far, I absolutely really love Geralt of Rivia and Ciri, actually the best. And I think Ciri could end up possibly becoming one of my favourite characters in this series. That is just my opinion, and I have always thought that she just looked the part for the character that she's playing. Now the music, and I'm not meaning to sound nitpicky, it was fine. In parts it was actually really good, but I don't think the music was as good in this episode as it was the first 2 episodes. But that's just me. There was just some scenes where I kind of thought that music doesn't really overly sit, but then there was some other scenes where, like around the castle grounds and stuff like that, and the music was really good. So not meaning that to sound like nitpicky, and I'm not like moaning about it or anything, but I just thought that I would bring up the music and give my honest opinion. Now, Yennefer and Ciri, these two characters, so much goes on in episode 4. So I thought that, these are like, these last few episodes, like an hour and 7 minutes. So I'm going to actually concentrate on those two characters a lot more tomorrow. So so far I do actually like Yennefer, and I actually think she actually does look actually fairly like the character in Wild Hunt, and she is such an important character, as is Ciri. So I will actually talk about them more tomorrow, so be sure to tune in. I'm hoping to do it either tomorrow or the day after. And I wanted to actually just before I finish up, I wanted to bring up a picture of the writer of these novels, Andrzej Sapkowski, and he actually had something really nice to say about Henry Cavill actually, getting this part and playing Geralt in this The Witcher series. And I just thought that was really nice of the guy, and it was something that was really nice to say. So I just thought that I would, sort of bring up what his opinion was and what he basically had to say, basically. So that is pretty much everything that I wanted to sort of say. I do understand, guys, honestly, where people are sort of like getting confused. It does get really more in depth, like in the 4th episode. But like, if there's anybody out there that you're maybe got to like the 4th episode, some people are saying that they kind of give up after that because they don't know anything about it, that they just feel like insanely lost. I hope this video has even been of some help, and also my other reviews of episode 1 and episode 2. But if there's anything that anybody's like a bit confused about or anything, and they think it might help, drop it down in the comments, and either myself or anyone who's watching who knows any answers or anything like that, we will get back to you, because I don't like want it to like put anybody off, because I can honestly see where you're coming from. But in ways it's kind of like, Game of Thrones do it too, the kind of like you'd be with Daenerys at one moment, and then like it'll show you like other you know what I mean? Because the thing is, this is a massive world, like it's a massive universe to explore, and it is fantasy, and so is Game of Thrones. Not comparing the two, but I am just saying. And to be honest, like, I'm not even a book reader. I will be perfectly honest. I literally only bought these books because I was so interested to read them, and I'd wanted to read them for a good while, to be honest. And because I am such a big fan of the games, and then I was playing The Witcher there again about a few months ago, Wild Hunt, 3rd one, and I was sort of saying to myself, do you know what, I should just get the books. And then whenever I found out about the whole series and everything and got excited about that, the trailers were really promising, then I thought to myself, do you know what, I should actually just buy these books. And to be honest, like, the only, like, obviously aside like Star Wars and DC and Marvel and stuff like that, I obviously read in those categories, but as well, like, for example, I would only buy a book if it's something that I have like real passion or interest, or something that I want to learn more about. So for like example, I love Cameron Diaz, the actress Cameron Diaz, and my partner got me 2 books of hers. But like, aside from that, and like I say other things like Star Wars and stuff, like, I don't actually buy books. So, I really did have the interest to buy these and invest the time into reading them, and I really enjoy them. And honestly, I would recommend, even just if you are interested, just get the, if you want to buy the whole set, even just the first book, The Last Wish, read that novel. Literally just read that novel, and you seriously, honestly, you will be amazed at how much that you will actually learn about the first 3 episodes alone, even that you've watched. There'll be a lot of stuff in there. You'll be like, oh my goodness, yeah, there's Strega, there's, the character Foltest, you know what I mean? Like, but, anyways, but you can let me know what you thought of this episode. I hope you've seen it, because if not, I've just spoiled it for you in every way, shape or form. But yeah, I was so happy with this episode. I thought it was absolutely class, and the visuals are so gosh darn good. Like, I didn't know how good the visuals were going to be, but I'm really happy with them, and I'm really happy with this series. So I have 4 more to watch, because there's 8 episodes in total, and I honestly hope the last 4 are going to be really, really good. My only problem is that there was so much going on with episode 4 that I'm hoping it's not going to put too many people off, but that's not me saying that. That's just me saying that for other viewers that are maybe starting to get a wee bit lost, and I hope that they kind of stick to the way they've kind of been doing it with the first 3 episodes, where they do really just concentrate on X amount of characters, because I do feel that they haven't thrown in way too many characters at the once. I personally don't think so, but you can let me know what you think. I will see you either tomorrow or the day after with my 4th episode of The Witcher, and it will be spoilers again. I'm going to be reviewing all of these episodes, all 8 of them. Really excited to watch the rest, so please don't be putting any spoilers below for, episode 5, 6, 7 and 8, because I haven't seen them yet. I warned you about spoilers, so don't be giving me any. So thanks very much, guys, and I will see you soon, and thanks very much for all the support, and don't forget, until my next video, may the force be with you always, because it's 100% with Henry Cavill, aka Superman, aka the White Wolf. Bye, guys.